Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Chris and today I have a very special video for you, and it is the first time actually that I have a collaboration on this channel, and today we have Justin from Rebel Tech. And the topic that we're going to be discussing in this video is all about monetization channels or monetized channels and not monetized YouTube channels. And that conversation actually starts with the question that I have gotten a lot and also a question that Justin has.
Yeah, I have been making videos on this channel for about a year now, and just so happens that it actually is coming up on being monetized, this channel, and it's amazing how it's grown, and I've been very lucky to have it grow this far. And this is the best way I could learn, is going to someone who actually has been monetized and went through the grind of being monetized. So this is perfect for a person that needs the insight before they get there. So to be completely blunt, how long does it take to get monetized?
Well, I would say that's not an easy answer to give, because it takes a different amount of time for about just everybody. And to be completely honest, from all I know of your journey on your channel Rebel Tech, you have been actually faster on that growth path to being monetized than I was with my own channel until I actually hit that number. Because for me, it took a little over three and a half years to go from uploading the first video on the channel to uploading tons of videos on that journey, and then finally being monetized just about 1 year and a couple months ago. So for me, it took 3.5 years just about that number. And right now you are at something like 690 subscribers. But how long have you been uploading?
I started late March, April of 2020. And it was one of those things that, funny enough, I mean, it was just a bad year all around, but this kept me grounded. It actually kept me sane. And after being laid off and trying to find jobs, always working the audio gig every once in a while, and I was working steady, and then of course the whole world went kind of down the toilet. But it got me thinking that I always wanted to make a channel like this, a tech channel, and I've watched endless amounts of videos about tech and things like that. I was like, give my perspective from an indie film production side or an indie audio person side, because I don't know. I mean, to be honest, the first 2 months of it, the first 2 months of me making videos was just like feeling it out. And I really just used it to learn how to edit. I knew how to edit a little bit, making Let's Plays, playing video games, and it's easy stuff, just cutting it together. It's not that hard. Try to be funny, which I failed miserably. It came to a point where I'm like, people are actually watching, people are engaging, and the views weren't the thing that made me think that. It was the comments. It was people engaging in conversations that I had that really inspired me to go further. Now, of course, the views and the subscribers certainly helps, but the conversation is what drives the making of the videos.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. The part where you actually feel like you are connecting with someone because there is a part of the other person present. With the views, it's just a number that ticks up by 1 or 2, and then you have subscribers similarly. But there's just a one-way street where you just provide and the people consume without ever being noticed. But when you have the engagement in the comment section, that's a whole different story. And I think that, again, I'm quite blown away by your path right now. You have just been uploading for about a year. You have 620 subscribers at this point, so it's like just 400 subscribers to now getting to the point of monetization, which, depending on your growth, how are you doing there with the month-to-month growth?
Well, I'm hoping, I was hoping at the beginning of the year, it was progressively getting better, and then I hit a slump right after January. February was just brutal, which I hear a lot of people deal with that problem a lot. But then it went back up, and the goal is right now is I'm hoping this month I start averaging 100 subscribers a month, in which case in 4 months I should be monetized, should be, quote unquote. But I've heard a lot of stories and I've watched a lot of videos on it, how even if you get to that point of monetization with the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch time hours, which to be honest, I obliterated it, which was nice. I'm almost at 6,000 now, which is very cool. I thought, to be honest, when I first started this, I thought this 4,000 watch time hours was going to be the thing holding me up, but I was wrong, completely wrong.
Yeah, I can totally relate there, because like it feels harder to get until you realize how much watch time each video is and how you collect those. And I mean, you have to keep in mind the 6,000 that you see now are actually just the last 12 months, because that's only the amount of time that they always collect, right? So you already are losing a little bit of the watch time in that specific number. But I think it makes sense to kind of like see the growth that you are going through, the goal that you have now with the subscribers specifically to reach around 100 new people every month and grow by that, and just keep creating on that journey. And I think that even now for me, as a monetized channel, the game doesn't really change whether you are monetized or not, because you still have to continuously produce content to get the views, get subscribers, and also enjoy the process. And I think that that was really valuable in terms of what you said in the beginning about the journey of like, how do you do this, or why do you do this? To actually say like, okay, now I'm making videos because I want to learn more about editing. I want to learn how the whole platform functions, and also being part of that industry, which you are already doing something in as a sound person. Not necessarily for YouTubers, or at least I don't know that you do that, but like for film sets and short movies and stuff like that. And so I think that that is actually something that is very motivating to look at from that point of view. If like you are not monetized yet, so it shouldn't be necessarily the main focus, because if you just want to get the 1,000 subscribers, you're most likely going to use some routes and methods that are not necessarily nice or good. I personally don't like follow for follow ideas and stuff like that. However, the other methods are more work, and it means that you actually have to find enjoyment in the process. And I see so many people that start uploading, they have 1 or 2 videos online, and that's it. And I actually got a message from someone a couple of weeks ago who made 1 video on their channel and then wrote back to me and said, well, this sucks, because I thought I would make thousands of views, or like 3,000 views in the first week, and I just made 24 views. And I'm like, what did you expect on the first video that you ever uploaded on a new channel? And
I don't get that.
For me, that was kind of ridiculous. I understand where this might be coming from. However, it's just not how this works. There are very, very few people that grow to any substantial growth in less than a year. And to even like, there are, of course, like there's a hand selected few that actually got to those places of like having 500,000 subscribers or whatever within a year or something like that. But it's so few that it's not worth thinking about. What you have to think about is, why do you do this? Is it actually enjoyable? Would you do it if monetization would not be a thing? And maybe have it at the back of your head. Like, I'm not pretending I never cared about monetization, because I did from the get-go pretty much, because I know that there is the possibility of YouTube making money. But it's not the main focus. It should not be the main focus. And you just have to actually also enjoy the process. Otherwise, you should probably search for something else to do.
Yeah, I feel that the same way, but to be completely honest, and believe it or not, I never had that expectation. I never had the, not expectation, but like the goal. I mean, the goal is always to be as successful as you can, but the goal for monetization wasn't really there. It was never really there, because I had 2 channels that no one watched any of the videos, but I made the videos because I enjoyed it. And I was doing the same thing here. And then the mindset changed when I reached it. The mindset started to change probably when I hit like 250, between the 250 and 500 mark. And I'm like, this actually is working.
Those are interesting marks, I think, to kind of like realize that. It's also a place where I just remember this random fact of like, I think Marcus like there was someone who did a whole bunch of analysis about how many videos did people upload before they reached a certain subscriber milestone. And I think that I remember that Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, for example, I think he uploaded a little over 100 videos to reach his first 100 subscribers. So that kind of tells you how much work some people have put in, despite now being some of the biggest creators on the platform, right? Like you will have to grind a whole bunch to reach the place of those kind of successful stories. And it's a long-term game, essentially. That's what it is. But what would you suggest? Like what are you currently focusing on to kind of like to get you there? Like what's your focus now that you're saying like, yes, I in some part have the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. You see the potential. How do you plan on getting there?
Well, I see, obviously, look at the analytics of what videos perform well and what people are there to watch. It's a game of like trying to gather in more people in different markets. Why I started doing short films, parodies, and things like that. And the YouTube shorts, I'm trying that out as well. But that's just to see if I could expand into a different market and see if I could get more people in. But I obviously know what people like and what people want to watch. And part of the reason why I got this microphone is because I know that because I'm not making a lot of money, I need to figure out, buy stuff or get something or have an idea that will cover multiple videos and multiple topics. So this microphone alone would probably be at least 10 videos. And that's 2 months worth of content, which is incredible because I could just get this one thing. Yes, sure, it's an investment, but I don't think of it like buying this as for YouTube. I think of it for me personally as an audio recordist and working on shoots and things like that, or working in a studio. I have this now. It's mine, and I could go to a shoot or go to a recording session and say, hey, I have a Shure SM7B. Let's use this. Let's get your recording just right the way you want it.
So in this case, the multi-purpose of something like the Shure SM7B to not just be an investment into this one thing, which is not making any money right now, but to have a multi-purpose. And at the same time, also the fact that you did not choose just about any microphone, but you chose one that is extremely popular in the recent years. And so with that, looking at the keyword analytics, essentially, I assume that there's also a whole bunch of views going toward that mic, because nowadays people are just all over that specific setup of doing podcasts, doing voice content, live stream content, and stuff like that. And so that is probably something that you also considered in that whole consideration of like whether or not to make this investment, which is a pretty crazy investment considering that it costs what, about $400 with the fat header?
It's about $500 the whole setup.
Yep. So that's a real consideration to make. But then again, you also, specifically being a tech channel, have the potentiality of, for example, adding affiliate income to that even before potentially reaching the 1,000 subscriber mark. And I do hope that you do that at some point, as we have talked about in other places. And that may be something that we can talk about in an upcoming video at some point about whether or not affiliate income as a YouTuber makes a whole bunch of sense. But I would say there are a couple things that I would suggest that are not good for channel growth and things that I think that people should think about. And one of those things is consistency. Everybody's talking about that. I'm not really good at keeping up my consistency. I sometimes publish 3 videos in 1 week. Sometimes I publish 2 videos in 1 day. But maybe it would be smarter to schedule them out. Things I would not do on YouTube, and specifically on this journey to 1,000 subscribers, is what I just mentioned as well, in terms of like follow for follow. It just dilutes your subscriber count. And all kinds of similar things. Like there are platforms where you can buy followers. There are platforms where you can kind of like trick or trade followers in some kind of way. It just makes no sense whatsoever. If you are someone who creates videos, it makes sense to look into the analytics in terms of like if you have videos that perform better than other videos, to look at those. Then it also makes sense to look into keyword analysis of, for example, a Chrome extension that I use is called Keywords Everywhere. that can kind of tell you whether or not a keyword is something that people actually look for. And then based on that information, you can start making videos that potentially reach a farther audience because you have the keywords in the title and potentially in the description and also in the tags. So those kind of things can really help. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, it is absolutely the most important part to bring yourself to the whole experience. And of course, also your enthusiasm and energy. Because again, if you don't have fun doing all of this, why are you doing it at all? And how do you plan on keeping on and doing what you want to be doing here for a potentially very long time? Now with that, let's talk about what actually changes when you get monetized. And I'm guessing you have heard stories. What do you think, like, what have you learned so far? What are you expecting to change when monetization comes into play?
So what I expect when monetization comes into play, to be honest, as far as personal, like, growth and personal, like, myself being on camera, nothing's gonna really change. I'm gonna be myself regardless of what people think. I really don't care if I'm gonna sink with that ship if I have to. And it's a matter of understanding my personal growth compared to the history of it. So like other people say, oh, you reached 1,000 subscribers, you're more likely to get more traction or more engagement, or your videos are going to be promoted more. That'd be nice, but I need to be realistic and see how it affects me personally. That could affect a lot of people, and then maybe even the vast majority of them. But if it doesn't affect me, I can't expect that. I need to go off of what my history has been, not necessarily how the other people's history have been. But it's nice to have that insight saying, if this does happen, if that growth does happen, I know what to expect and I know what to deal with when the time comes. But have a thing in the back of my mind saying, just slow your roll, pump the brakes, and let's see what happens personally. And if it happens to roll out the same way as other people, awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting perspective to look at, because it's very easy to just, like, I can see a lot of people just seeing 1,000 subscribers, it means money, right? And it's not the case. It's probably not going to be the first month that you get money at all, because there are things like the payout scale, which we'll cover in a moment. But there is this part about growth on the channel, which I have seen around that time. However, that also coincidentally kind of like was surrounding the whole first lockdown situation. So I'm not sure which one was the bigger catalyst for my own channel. I've heard those stories a lot, that YouTube is more incentivized to advertise channels that are monetized, because that way they actually also earn something. So that may or may not be true. But I think your perspective is really cool there, that what changes for yourself? Like, what does it mean to have 1,000 subscribers versus 600? Not really much changes. Your personality is still the same. It's like you still have to bring yourself, because as soon as you start changing yourself and trying to make content that maybe other people are doing, it really doesn't help, right? Like you'll have to feel comfortable with the videos that you make, with the type of voice you have whilst you're making those videos, with the expressions that you give to the people and stuff like that. So I think that's a really cool aspect. I oftentimes wonder, it's like, what are changes that I might see happening to me personally, or what are goals that I would like to hit, right? Like, I would love to hit 10,000 subscribers, maybe 100,000. Do I really care about the number of subscribers? Actually, not really. For me, it's a very interesting thing to be able to sustain myself from YouTube. Monetization is a big part of that, because it makes that possible. But then again, is it about getting super rich? Maybe. That could be fun. But at the end of the day, it's a job that I want to do because it is enjoyable to create videos. It's a great experience to connect with people. And that's something that we're going to talk about in the second part of this video. So check out the video on Justin's channel, also linked in the description down below. And yeah, like how things can go from here is really up in the air. And with that, I also want to talk about the payout scale, which I just mentioned. If you are getting monetized, in the first month, unless you're making thousands of views, you're probably not going to earn all that much. And that means that there is the payout threshold from YouTube. Now, for me at the time, I think it was something around 75 euros or US dollars, something in that ballpark. So that is something that you will have to be aware of, because it means that unless you have more than that cumulative summed up, essentially, if you earn the money in 2 months, it doesn't matter, you get the whole thing. It's not like you have to earn more than $75 to actually get the money, but it means that you are only getting it transferred to your bank account as soon as the sum of the money earned throughout multiple months, potentially, then you actually get the payout. Now, for me, that took 2 months, and ever since I have gotten a payout every single month. So it was just the first 2 months that kind of were bunched together in one payment. And I am actually super grateful about that, because it means that now my income has been subsidized from making YouTube videos for a little bit over a year now. And that's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool to know that someone is in the same boat as you, but the boat is like a couple miles away in front of you, in front of the journey, and it's kind of like if there was a boat in front of the Titanic and it actually saw the iceberg coming, and you'd be like, okay, let's change our course now so that we go that certain direction. Very poor analogy, but we're the same. It applies. I mean, it applies. You have a foresight into what's going on, and you and I have very similar channels in that sense, that we talk about tech, we talk about things that we use in our lives, and we try to give a personal touch to it so that it's relatable to people, or someone can just come to the channel to just have a conversation or have like a personal connection with somebody. You know how many times that people in my comment section just are so happy that I just got back to them and actually answered them. And it's amazing how appreciative people are for the personal connection you give them. And of course, there's going to be annoying and there's going to be mean comments in your comment section. That's to be expected. If you can't handle that, this isn't the business for you. But when it comes to going through that process and of understanding where you're going, it's nice to have that insight. And this is what this video is and this conversation is for.
And with that, I think we're going to throw it over to part 2. As I've mentioned before, that will be linked in the description below, and it will be about how monetization changes you as a creator in different topics, and maybe we'll cover some other stuff there as well. Now, this was the first collaboration here on my channel with Justin from Rebel Tech. If you want to see more of his videos, of course, you can check out the video, as I've mentioned, in the description below, and also his channel, and help him potentially reach the 1,000 subscribers a little bit earlier than expected. And yeah, with all that said, thank you, Justin, for being here.
Yep, thank you for having me.
And for everybody else, you can join the Discord server to ask questions and have a conversation, or leave a comment down in the comment section below. With all that said, I hope you have an amazing day. Check out the video on Justin's channel, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.